Islam ruled for 800 years and the Christians to the British ruled for 200 years, and still we are 800%, 80%. How was India an exception? And the ISIS also in its publication says that India is an unfinished chapter of Islam, because they say that we have not been able to convert them all to 100% Muslim. So this phenomenon is because of, if the correct history is written, you will find that every part of India was fighting against foreign rule. None of them accepted it. Whether it's Shivaji or who won and established Hindu Rashtra in a part of India, or it was Rana Pratap who showed utter bravery, or the Vijayanagara Empire. Vijayanagara Empire started from Karnataka, went all to the borders of Bengal, and lasted 300 years. But where is the reference to Vijayanagara Empire in our history books? Maybe one paragraph might be there that in South India there was Vijayanagara Empire. But look at Islam, the Mughal rule. Each Mughal king has got one chapter for them in all our history books. Akbar has got one, Jahangir has got one, Shah Jahan has got one, Aurangzeb has got one. Akbar to Aurangzeb is 150 years. But Vijayanagara lasted for 300 years. There's no. What about this Ahom dynasty in Assam? Twice the Mughals tried to cross across to Burma by defeating the Ahoms. Ahoms defeated them. What about the great sacrifice of Guru Gobind Singh or Guru Tegh Bahadur and his son Guru Gobind Singh, who broke the back of the Islam of Mughal rule? There's very little reference to him. So this history has to be written with giving proper perspective. Women warriors we produce, Rani Chennamma in Karnataka, Rani Jhansi in North India. So that hardly any coverage is given in our history books. So in order to develop proper mindset, we must have a new history text prepared, and that needs to be done. It hasn't been done. There's been, I must say that we have been unable, we have not been smart enough to get around it, we have not been brutal enough to do it, but that doesn't mean we won't do it again. I'm sure that if there is sufficient Hindutva, to 2019 or elections also we are going to win whether the economy is good or bad. Once the Hindus rise above their caste and regions and vote as Hindus for the renaissance of Hindus, then I don't think any party can challenge it. But that's not the issue. But the fact is that we need for developing this mindset. And this has to be done very systematically. So, third is, Sanskrit is a part of that. Hindu unity, Sanskrit is a part of that. Let me tell you that Hindu unity is something which to say that is no more relevant in today is wrong. When the British created India and Pakistan, they had to do a legal maneuver because there was no Pakistan. So they had to create a legal entity called Pakistan. So they introduced in the House of Commons a separate bill which was called the Indian Independence Act. And that bill, in the discussion, the Prime Minister and all the key ministers, when they spoke, they said, our aim is to create a Muslim-governed Pakistan and a Hindu-governed India. And that was on the basis of which partition took place. That is why Ambedkar said that let there be population exchange. But then the Indian Independence Act was passed on 19th July and Mountbatten announced that we are going to hand over power on August 15th. I think Mountbatten was probably afraid that if we delayed it much longer, Subhash Chandra Bose might come and then the British may have to run after that. So therefore, I don't know what the principle, it was supposed to be June 48, but they advanced it to August 15. So I am saying that this part, whether it's truncated or otherwise, India was always thought as a Hindu country. And I would say because of genetics, since Muslims and Hindus also in India have the same DNA, therefore you are either a Hindu or your ancestors are Hindus. And the day the Muslims accept this real fact, then I think Hindu-Muslims can function together as one family. So I will conclude by saying that Hindu unity is a mindset. And that mindset has many components in it. First, you must know your identity, which I say is either Hindu or your ancestors are Hindus. That's the correct thing. You can have a republican concept of Bharat, India, that is Bharat. But in terms of ID, your identification, it is Hindu or your ancestors are Hindus. And similarly, this mindset will tell you in what form you should regard all the people who are in the country as your associates. Vivekananda very clearly said that the moment the word where a Hindu comes to you for help and he comes to you genuinely for help, then in your bodies a new emotion should rise and I must help him. That feeling, when it comes, then you are a true Hindu. This is what Vivekananda had said when he came back from Chicago and he stopped in Lahore to give a speech. In that occasion he said it. So this mindset is extremely crucial. If your mindset is still what the British have prepared it, no matter how strong we become, how many satellites we are able to launch, you will not be a great power. You will not be a great country. Just like a lion is well fed in a circus and 5 lions are put in one cage and one thin wiry ringmaster walks into the cage and starts ordering these lions around. Wake up, get up, go over sit on the bench, open your mouth. He'll put his head in the mouth of every one of them and the audience would cheer. When you ask the question, why these lions don't bite him to pieces, it's because from cub stage the lion has been brought up to obey, and he obeys. And this happens to human beings also. And I have personally experienced this in the case of Manmohan Singh. He's a good man. He's a good man. And since he's a good man, I always respected him. I knew him personally for long years. But somehow, sitting in the most powerful chair of India, the Prime Minister's chair, he couldn't say no to Miss Sonia Gandhi. And that is because Singh is a lion, but then if he's a circus lion, then he will concentrate. So I will conclude by saying that when you talk about Hindu unity, and for that Sanskrit is very important because all languages have Sanskrit words. Tamil 42%, Kannada 65%, Malayalam 80%, Bengali 85%, Hindi of course has now increasing numbers, it's reached 90%. So all our languages have Sanskrit words. And the more Sanskrit words come in, the easier it is for me to learn all the languages. And therefore, Sanskrit is also a part of it. Correct understanding of history is a part of it. A certain Virat attitude, that is, you will defend the Hindus when you will not sit aside and ask somebody else to do it, but you will unite and you will, this organic unity comes about a feeling that we are all one people. That is the way you can do, and for that Sanskrit is a foundation, because Sanskrit is able to convey meanings which other languages cannot convey for us, and consequently we have to base our Hindu unity amongst many things, the foundation of Sanskrit. Thank you very much.